Fortunately, guys, we actually have the ability to give women testosterone.
Ladies and gentlemen, go for our wild ride with the honey badgers. But beware, the sweetest kittens have the sharpest claws. For your own safety, strap yourself in and hold onto something as we enter the Pussycat cast. Taboo topics.
Wait a second. Men are human too.
Marginalized men. Uncomfortable truths.
You suck!
The Pussycats aren't afraid of heavy lifting.
Welcome to Pussycat Cast number 13, Feminism Kills, Sperm Dead. Today, I'm joined by that adorable specter of death, Prim Reaper, and hopefully soon our resident sexpert, Anna Cherry, to look into the impact of feminism's demonization of male sexuality. It seems that when men experience potential repercussions of such negativity, society has a habit of looking for a cause in every way that doesn't involve examining the way men are viewed and treated by society. This week, The Mirror published an article discussing a study done by researchers from Hebrew University Hadassah, I hope I'm pronouncing that right,
Yeah,
Braun School of Public Health and Community Medicine, and the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. And watch me have put the emphasis on the wrong syllable and lengthened the wrong vowels and everything there.
Bowls.
Bowls. Which found that sperm counts among Western men have dropped to an all-time low. The researchers called for analysis to determine the cause, while suggesting that chemicals may be a prime suspect. However, a 2014 article in Medical News Today highlighted a Kaiser Foundation study's finding that stress reduces male fertility. In light of that, perhaps the researchers from the sperm count study ought to take a look at feminist demonization of male sexuality and masculinity. Feminist narratives on intimate partner and sexual violence paint male sexuality as automatically obsessive, domineering, and predatory, while women's sexuality is treated as a natural good that is suppressed by a cruel patriarchal society. This contrast is driven home by university articles like Yale University's Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies at Yale, Reflections, Celebrations, and Visions, which infers that the biggest hurdle to women's gender and sexuality studies is men, then goes on to demonstrate how not hostile the supposedly male-dominated academic world has been to the expansion of women's studies. An expansion which, by the way, was funded mostly by organizations run by men. This follows 6 years of law and policy attacks on the due process rights of men accused of sexual misconduct on university campuses, resulting in numerous cases of falsely accused men being penalized and numerous lawsuits against academic institutions. If that's not enough, men can look into the media for shaming and stress, as there are plenty of writers like Johanna Schneller of the Toronto Metro to use popular television shows to extol the superior maturity of sex with a man whose penis has been removed. No way could it just be part of the drama of the famously gory Game of Thrones series. No way could the moment represent a tenderness within both of the characters overcoming a man's devastating handicap. That couldn't be enough, could it? Nope, it has to be more mature because now it really is all about her. Reverse the sexes on the moment and imagine the outrage-gasm feminists would have over it. But really, it's just a TV show and an article. It's not like there's any real-life effort to normalize cutting male genitals, right? Well, yeah, there is. This week, the House of Representatives voted to add circumcision and ritual animal slaughter, two behaviors that fit oddly well into the same sentence, to the list of things protected under the International Religious Freedom Act of 1998. In contrast, female circumcision is outlawed over the majority of the world, despite the main rationale behind it also being religious. Certainly, chemicals could be a factor if men's sperm counts have dropped, but with stress's confirmed influence, so could feminism's demonizing narrative, and the legal and policy changes it has wrought. So with that in mind, have at it.
Okay,
There's
I want to
a lot
add.
to unpack there.
I want to add something. There was unfortunately, Hannah, there was a paragraph left out. So,
Did I forget to read something?
yeah, that's okay. I can do it. It's also now academia is directly attacking masculinity with initiatives like Princeton University starting with its new interpersonal violence clinician and men's engagement manager, whose job, according to the College Fix, will be to combat aggressive masculinity on campus, where male students have been labeled male student perpetrators and female students labeled victims of sexual harassment, sexual assault, domestic and dating violence, as well as stalking.
Yep,
That's on top of everything else. Okay, you go ahead. You're talking about phytoestrogens, so go ahead.
Sure. So yeah, we have, of course, the chemical aspects. What you're wanting to look at is potentially how much of the input is the hormonal and chemical, runoff in water, or just straight up eating it, how we do, and the ways that is changed. And of course, the other option is, or the other side of the debate, or sort of nature versus nurture thing, is stress-related behavior. There's a whole area of study that I really am fascinated with, and it kind of is related to primatology. It kind of starts there, where you have a lot of social defeat studies. And actually, I'm really hoping I could get Richard Rahl in on here, because he actually learned more of the exact studies, and he could cite that a little better. But in lieu of that, there definitely is information out there you can look for yourself about the fact that males in groups of primates, when the older males, or basically in general, when there's stress, you can see specifically social stress. So when you're getting pushed around, when you're getting screeched at, when you're getting put in your place frequently, which is what feminism does to men all the time. The monkeys, the males, their testosterone drops, and they develop behaviors. And it's not just monkeys; it's rats all over the place. Testosterone drops, and because of the social stress, and it's called social defeat, if you want to look that up. And they start assuming mounted positions, so they start presenting themselves as women. So they basically, not only does the sperm count, etc.,
Power bottoms.
But so not even power. They just straight up. So actual social stress can lead to the man acting and more like a woman, if that makes sense.
Taking on the submissive role, I guess.
Well, considering everything about traditional masculinity is labeled toxic these days, I'm not at all surprised that they're being socialized to be more feminine.
Boys don't have anyone at the elementary school level who understands them and understands how they learn, understands how they deal with, like, even just the stress of being stuck in a classroom environment where somebody's standing up in front of the classroom going on and on about something that maybe doesn't interest them because it's a lecture instead of a hands-on learning process for them. And this is something that we're seeing, evolve. We've watched it evolve from the 70s on as a society, where with more and more women in the classroom as being like the norm, the only thing, and fewer men in the classroom at all, especially, like I said, at the elementary level. You start to get into high school, you see more men in the classroom. But because of this, we're seeing more and more normal, healthy boy behavior treated as though it's pathological, and more imposition of drugs to treat things like attention deficit disorder being imposed on kids that don't have it, and not just used to help the kids that do have it. You're seeing more and more kids getting labeled learning disabled when maybe they simply need a little extra attention in the classroom, or maybe they need a little more leeway in terms of how they deal with their learning process. And so they don't necessarily have a real learning disability, but they're singled out and treated, and it's mostly boys. Boys have more disciplinary problems in the classroom. Boys are more likely to get marked down for the same types of answers that girls are getting, not marked down for.
Girls who act more like boys are also being punished, because that's actually what my sister's going through. She asks questions. She needs, she's different, and they're like, bullying her teachers sometimes. They're actually transferring her to a new school right now because
that's awful. That is probably going to do more to keep girls out of STEM than anything, because the type of girls that would want to go into STEM studies are the ones who learn like boys. They're the hands-on girls. They're the questioning girls. They're not the girls that sit in the back of the classroom and giggle over boys. They're the girls that find it fascinating when you accidentally leave a technical manual sitting out, and instead of asking permission to read it, pick it up and start browsing through it. But yeah, this is something that it's harmful to men because it puts a lot of stress on men. It would be terrifying right now to be a man in the elementary education system. It would be absolutely terrifying. And I wouldn't necessarily want to go into that profession at all if I was a guy.
There were some people in the chat that were basically saying, "Oh my God, I've been drinking, soy products like my whole life or for a really long time." And
you have to ingest a lot of it. But
but I mean, like, if you've been doing it over the course of like 30 years or something, it does have an effect. And it's not just that you've been, say, drinking like soy milk, but there are environmental factors and the stress that we've been talking about. So if you think that you may be having issues with testosterone and you're male, so I'll speak to that part, not to say that women don't also need testosterone, but fortunately, guys, we actually have the ability to give women testosterone. But I can get into that afterwards. But if you are experiencing that, just so you know, even in my condition where I only have one testicle, it's actually more than enough to give me the testosterone I need. But the other factors can still play in. Now, here are some ways that you can increase your testosterone even now. Of course, as you get into your middle age, your testosterone levels are going to drop naturally. That's just like a part of growing old. But here are some things that you can do to replace your testosterone. First of all, you should avoid the estrogen mimicking compounds that you find in food, water, and environmental pollutants as often as possible. The food stuff is easy to do. Just be on the lookout for that. The FDA and basically the U.S. government has an interest in keeping us eating the grains that we grow here, but do what you can to avoid doing that, because it's not about the concern for your actual health, and the soy is ever present, so it's kind of hard to avoid, but try it. But what you can do to increase your testosterone: 1, lose weight, work on it, diet, engage in high intensity exercise like peak fitness. Combine that with intermittent fasting. I actually do intermittent fasting myself. I went to the gym all the time, but when the cancer came, I had to deal with it in terms of going to the hospital and getting surgery, so I couldn't really do a lot of physical labor for a while. But now that I'm starting to heal and things are semi-normal as I'm approaching the time to do some the chemo and stuff, I'm also going to try to go to the gym again like I used to. So try to do that. The high impact peak fitness routines are things like warming up for 3 minutes, then exercise as hard and fast as you can for 30 seconds. You should feel like you couldn't possibly go on another few seconds. Then recover at a slow to moderate pace for 90 seconds. Then repeat about 7 times or until you're exhausted. Consume plenty of zinc. The mineral zinc is important for testosterone production, and supplementing your diet for as little as 6 weeks has been shown to cause a marked improvement on testosterone amongst men with low levels. Also, engage in strength training, if at all possible, and optimize your vitamin D levels. Reduce stress, which we could get into in terms of how you could do it, but there are lots of ways to do it. Limit or eliminate sugar from your diet. I try to limit it myself. I like sugar in certain things, so it's hard to eliminate completely, but I've limited it a lot.
It seems that you're doing the things that it takes to remain physically healthy, physically fit, mentally healthy, and so on, will keep your testosterone level at the correct level, at a healthy level. I'm not seeing a lot in terms of now. Testosterone can affect some things. There's an association, for instance, between low testosterone and heart conditions that actually may be more of a causative link, although it's not listed in this article. But it is definitely, it's like your little canary in a coal mine. If you find out you have lower testosterone, that may be because you have some of these other issues like diabetes, metabolic syndrome, obesity, high blood pressure, things like that. And alleviating those things, doing the things that you need to do to alleviate those things can help to fix the problem.
Yeah, thanks for that, Hannah. So another one that you could do is eat healthy fats. So your body does require saturated fats from animal and vegetable sources, but there's also some other healthy fats. For example, olives and olive oil, coconuts, coconut oil, butter made from raw grass-fed organic milk. You can get that for a lot cheaper than it sounds.
Avocados.
Avocados, egg yolks, grass-fed meats, palm oil, organic nut oils, and
make sure it's cage-free and
no pun intended on the nut oil
eggs.
thing. And raw nuts such as almonds, pecans, Brazil nuts. I eat those too. And lastly, boost your.
Be careful with Brazil nuts. You can actually overdose on vitamin A if you eat too many of them. But
I don't usually have too many. A couple a day or something sometimes.
Or selenium. I'm not sure what it is exactly in it, but those are the ones that you gotta watch out. You can't it's like 10 a day or something.
And
my understanding, the best 3 nuts to eat if you're not allergic to any of them are cashews, almonds, and walnuts. Those are the ones that my dad's heart doctor recommended.
Yeah. And guacamole is fucking delicious. So like, if you can get some guac, do it.
But you want to read it. You want to read the package.
Oh no,
I
was gonna say no. Like I usually get it. Like there's a Mexican restaurant close to my house. I go there and they make it fresh right there. Or you can get the ingredients and do it yourself. It's actually really easy. And it's a lot cheaper because avocados are one of those things that the prices fluctuate a lot depending on the season, and because it's also basically an import from Mexico. So, it changes, but if you can do it yourself, it's really not hard, and it's really useful to make things from scratch. It feels good to do, and you find out how easy it is and how much you're being overcharged when you buy it from a restaurant or a grocery store. But this way, you know what's going into it. So
you can tweak it. You can tweak the recipe to make it taste the way you want it to taste too.
Yeah. And then, so the last things I wanted to get back to is boost your intake of branched-chain amino acids, or BCAA, from foods such as whey proteins. I actually have one of those big giant containers of whey shake, powder. I'm gonna get. When I was going to the gym, my girl was making them for me because she has a lot of experience making these things. So, and we would like tweak it, and they taste good. I mean, they're good. And when you start, this is good stuff, because I'm all about, like, if you're a man and you want to feel like a man, then don't be afraid to do what it takes. And I think that all this stuff, like Hannah said, it's not just something that is for men. I mean, women can do these things too, and it'd be good for them. And by the way, going back to that thing I said before, I believe that when men have sex with women, they actually increase women's testosterone as well. So this is not bad.
Well, it's not just that, but actually they've done some studies with semen. Yeah, it does. Contact with semen through the skin, or of course if you absorb it through other orifices. I would suggest internally, not orally, because then it goes through the stomach and the acids and not as good. But through the skin and through the mucus lining of your lower bits, you can absorb not only the testosterone, but it actually increases serotonin and other levels. So it's literally an antidepressant. Male cum is an antidepressant. That's why we need to follow our pages.
Yeah. So, do those things, man. Lift, bro. It's not as, I noticed that there's a lot of shaming going around, like especially on feminist spaces, about, men that care about their health and want to go to the gym and all that. And they basically turn them into these weird, like, meathead stereotypes. And the thing is, I've been going to the gym for a while, and there are some people like that. But for the most part, most people, men and women, that go to the gym, and they just want to take care of themselves. It's not this thing that they've made, and I don't know why people. I know why. It's probably got something to do with the body positivity movement, but there is no shame in going to the gym. So just do it. Your body, your health is worth it. Like, you have to think about what you spend your resources on and consider that maybe your personal health is worth that extra amount of resources if you have it, and that extra time. And another thing is that if you are a man, you're wondering, you might be wondering this, because I've been wondering this, what does your sperm count look like? And also, what are your testosterone levels? You can get those things tested, and maybe you want to look at them. Because I got to tell you, there's nothing like feeling masculine when you are a man. If you don't know, you might not know what it's like. Maybe you've just never felt like that, you know. But I got to tell you that in the last, I don't know, like the last year or so, I've been feeling really. I can't describe it any other way. It feels really masculine. I think it's a great feeling as a man, right? So go and figure that out, guys. I mean, I think that you'll be happy. And if you're not happy now, maybe that's something you could look into. Maybe you'll be happier. So don't be afraid to check your sperm counts and check your testosterone levels if you can. I wanted to say something else, because in the read-up, there was mention of a House of Representatives thing. We have to mention this. So the U.S. House passes religious freedom bill protecting circumcision and ritual slaughter. Under the 1998 Religious Freedom Act, the circumcision thing has to be fought against. I don't think this is passed. It says they passed it, but I don't think it's become a law yet. So if you can... this is a really good example of the religious right clearly overreaching and doing some fucked up shit. So
yeah,
fight them on this if you can. This is bullshit. Circumcision is brutal. And you know what? These are the same people that would likely make an argument against another religion that we might be familiar with that does genital mutilation to women. And yet they don't have a problem not only with circumcision existing, but they want to essentially make it law. They want to pass it into law. So we have to fight that. It's bullshit. We don't allow female genital mutilation here in the States. We should not allow male genital mutilation either.
I'm going to take us out of the show, but I'm going to do so with one more plug. We talked about contacting your representative, and we talked about things that you can do. We've talked about a situation that just plain sucks. And it's a downer to talk about these situations, and it is important to talk about ways that, what can we do about this? How can we help remedy this circumstance? And, mentioned supporting mentors and, the things you can do to help alleviate the testosterone issue and so on. But in terms of teamwork as a movement, being able to get together and work on a project, being able to get together and work on maybe getting information out on a particular topic, being able to provide people with information like the links page I plugged, being able to organize a group contact, activism. That grassroots community activism, that takes a hub, which we talked about on the last show, MHRA Connect. And I think that's going to be a great hub for the community to plan and execute various projects for trying to get information out, for trying to get legislative reform enacted, for trying to assist individuals when there are circumstances for which they need assistance. So I would say, let's see if I can, it's mhraconnect.com, and go sign up. Go look at the projects that people already have started. If you have a project in mind, this is a place to find people with whom to collaborate. And so check it out, mhraconnect.com. And with that, I think we can end the show for real this time, just as soon as I find the damn button.